are in the Mentoring Matters talk of the Mentoring Club. This is our year-ender Mentoring Matters talk where we will delve into the stories of our mentees. Three of them have agreed to share their stories, and we also have three of our mentors who were part of our mentees' journeys. What are we going to cover for today? Primarily the stories of our mentors and mentees, and to answer the question, does mentoring really matter? And as an intro, we will provide you some background about the Mentoring Club for those of you who are not yet familiar with the Mentoring Club. And then we'll go right into the panel discussion with six of our speakers. At the end, we will share with you some of the other activities that are happening with the Mentoring Club in the form of announcements. So let's get started about getting to know the mentoring club. So the first way to do that is to actually get to know the people behind the things that we're doing in the mentoring club. So I'd like to express my gratitude to our volunteers and supporters. And there's so many more people behind the scenes that won't fit in this slide. These are primarily the ones that are actively supporting the programs that we currently have. And then, of course, our speaker for today, Anna, Kaan, Ricardo, Jossie, Kevin, David, and David. You can follow us on our social media channels. We are on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram. So we're creating some mentoring stories in TikTok as well. What is the Mentoring Club? What is our mission and what is our vision? The heart of the vision and the mission of the Mentoring Club are passionate, driven mentees. They want to become leaders or better leaders faster. And with the help of our community of mentors, we help our mentees understand what their goals are and then determine what are the skills that they need to develop in themselves to achieve their career and life goals. So we're not just focusing on career goals, but we want to make sure that they're looking at life from a balanced and holistic standpoint. So ultimately, our vision is that as mentees become successful leaders themselves, they will become mentors to others. So these are we're paying tribute to our mentors of today, and hopefully tomorrow our mentees will become mentors to others as well. Here are some examples of mentee relationships that are happening in the platform. So we have a mentee from California, Michaela, actually connecting with mentors across the world and across the US as well. We have a mentee in Kenya, Mita, who's here, who has connected with mentors from Uganda and the US. Mentee from India, who has connected with mentors in the US. And then a mentee from China, who is connected with mentors from Australia and the US. And then a mentee from the Philippines who's connected with mentors from the US and Canada. So these are some examples of relationships that have happened or are happening. So when I say have happened, it's because we are specific to the mentee's goals. And once the goals are achieved, they've developed the skills and it's just a matter of practice, then they can close the mentoring relationships with their mentors. And how do we attract people to the community? By sharing our core values. Number one is trust. We believe that integrity, honesty, and commitment are what make us trustworthy as individuals and professionals. Number two is leadership. Health, vision, and execution are values that we need to become successful leaders. And one without the other pretty much leads to nothing. And then the last value is community. So humanity, contentment, family. These are the social grounding forces that eventually make us feel fulfilled and happy. So if these are values that you share, we'd be happy to welcome you to our community. And of course, there are so many other values that align with this. Please feel free to reach out. For this session, we are here to talk about, does mentoring really matter? We decide individually based on what you will hear from the stories of our mentees and mentors who have willingly participated in today's session. So we have Anna Ladutko, she's a mentee from Lithuania. Kaan Özdökmeci, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Kaan. He is originally from Turkey and is now based out of Andorra. And then Ricardo Sanchez, based here in Silicon Valley. So we have Jossie Haines, based in Silicon Valley. Kevin is based in Ireland. And then David is based out of Southern California. And we will do the introductions from our panelists. Anna, go ahead.
Hello, Lisel. Hello, everybody. My name is Anna, and I'm manager of the monetization art team in Moneactive, a mobile game company. And when I transitioned into this role, I decided to join the mentoring club as mentee to get support. And my meeting with Jossie was a great luck for me, and I directly attribute my success in this role to the opportunity to seek for her advice and mentoring. So I'm here to talk about it.
I'm Kaan, VP of Engineering at Trilogy. I joined Mentoring Club when my organization was going through a challenging restructuring, and my recent move to Andorra kind of isolated me as well, so I was seeking mentorship. I was very lucky to have met Kevin and David through the program, and here I am to talk about my experience.
So Ricardo is not able to join us today, but he was able to have a session with me where we had some exchanges about his story. So I will play his intro for all of us.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ricardo Sanchez. I'm a senior principal engineer at a small startup called Assembly. I've been there for about 6 months. And about a year and a half ago, I was not working and I was joining a lot of meetups. I part of the Silicon Valley leadership organization, and that's how I ended up meeting Liesel, in which in one of those sessions she mentioned about mentorship, the mentoring club, and what it does and how it connects other people. I sound interested, and I tried at the time, but that didn't work. That was last year. And then this year again, as I was continuing pursuing looking for work, I decided I'm going to give this a try again. And I did. And finally, I was able to meet two great mentors. I have initial conversations with both of them. And then I just ended up just having more of a working relationship with one of them. I found it extremely helpful. One of my mentors, which is here, David Rowley. Hi, David. He was very instrumental in me in getting my job. I actually reached out to him the day before an interview with the CEO. I wanted to ask him, so what it was that gonna be like as his experiences, and he was just extremely accommodating. And in a very short notice, he got back to me, and we got on a call the day before, and I'm always thankful for that. Thank you, David. That gives me some good insights about how to handle some of the conversations that I had with him, and ultimately I got the work, the job. This is a totally worth it opportunity for any professional, no matter where your level are.
We've gone through three mentees, Anna, Kaan, and Ricardo, the mentors behind their journey. Let's start with Jossie.
I'm Jossie Haines. I'm an engineering leader turned executive coach for women in tech. And I've also been a mentor for the Mentoring Club for a number of years now. I left my corporate role and now coach people full time. So I'm very passionate about nurturing talent and helping others reach their full potential. And so I love being able to give back and help others and watch them grow in their journey. And it really allows me to share my experiences, insights, and enthusiasm and help people thrive, not just in tech, but these are challenging industries to work in. And I loved working with Anna. She reminded me of me sometimes when I was younger in my career and just getting into leadership. I love working with mentees who really want to grow and are willing to be vulnerable. And so I think it's very rewarding in both sides because it's great. It was amazing seeing her develop her confidence, find clarity in her career and success, being able to make a tangible impact on somebody else's life.
Hi all, I'm Kevin. I'm based in Dublin, Ireland. Yeah, I've been in the tech business for over 30 years, and I know it doesn't look like it, but I have. So I've been around for a while, and I'm currently CTO for a scale-up kind of cloud data tech company. But I've also worked in large multinationals, lots of other technology organizations, been in academia for a while, and I suppose I got involved in mentoring in different guises over the years, either with people who have been in my teams or in the mentoring club or other forums. You often see people who are kind of like, your career journey is like some sort of an Instagram highlight reel, but it doesn't actually work like that. And that's not how it actually happens. There's lots of bumps along the way. And my whole kind of view of things is I've experienced some of the bumps and the ups and downs and the positives and the negatives and all of that sort of stuff. And if I can help somebody along their journey as they're discovering that, it's a good thing and it's a good feeling. And that's how I kind of got involved. And so we'll probably broach some of those topics in the next while, and hopefully Kaan say some nice things about me, when we get into it. But that's kind of why I'm here. It's been a good experience.
Thank you, Kevin. And David?
I've also been involved in technology for a very long time and at different levels of leadership and whatnot. And certainly that plays a role in the experience that I can apply to help other people who might be in similar situations. But I mentor mainly because it feels great when I can help people. I mean, that's the motivation that drives me. But I also learn a lot from the experience. Being a good mentor means I have to put myself in the mentee's shoes to think how I would leverage my own experience to deal with issues that maybe I haven't had to deal with directly. So it's actually a growth opportunity for me. I've worked with a number of mentees. Having a good understanding of their professional domain really helps. I'm mostly drawn to mentees who are facing situations that kind of resonate with my own experience, whether or not we're sort of in the same domain. Helping mentees really starts with understanding their goals and the obstacles that might be getting in the way of achieving them. Doing that and surfacing those goals isn't as easy as it sounds. Actually, it sometimes takes some conversation to really establish what it is that you're hoping to do. First and foremost, as a mentor, you have to listen. When a mentee is able to overcome hurdles and maybe apply some of the advice or perspective that you have and the approach that perhaps we discuss, that's what keeps me coming back. Some of the mentees that you'll hear from today, we've talked through some very challenging and dynamic situations. And I think for the most part, they've come out ahead. So that's very rewarding. The mentoring club provides a great opportunity. Unlike some other platforms I've worked on that have been company sponsored, it requires mentees to sort of step up and seek out this help on their own. I favor those types of situations rather than company paid to pair you with a mentor, and so it's sort of at the company's bequest. So I'm thankful for the mentoring club to provide a platform to pair me with people who are truly seeking that kind of advice.
Well, thank you very much for all the intros. I hope our attendees today, our participants to our session, have gotten some idea of who are the mentees and who are the mentors, in terms of state of mind based on their introduction when they got into the mentoring relationships. Anna or Anya, when you were looking at the possibility of asking for help, what was the trigger for you to seek out the mentoring club? How did you find out about the mentoring club?
Actually, I'm a student of European Humanitarian University, and being a student, of course, I have to write coursework, and my supervisor recommended me to have an interview with super experienced coach, super amazing woman, and it was a mentor. I had that interview, and she told me a lot of interesting things. And in this list was the mentoring club. She was a mentor. Her name Olga is Magilova, and for now I'm still super happy that I had that meeting because I finished my coursework. Gosh, sorry. And I have some nice grade, and I forgot for a while about all this stuff. When I have a promotion on my job, I was a little not scared, but something about that because it was about people. And I'm really afraid to have a mistake connected to the people. It's not the same that make mistake according to the files. It's real people. I decided that I need mentorship. That's why I decided to write ULSL and start my journey. Maybe shortly, that's all.
It was word of mouth, right? So somebody was able to tell you that there is this opportunity to connect with multiple mentors. That's wonderful. When you were choosing a mentor, how did that process go for you?
Actually, it was pretty spontaneous. I was sure that I have to have some plan, some agenda for every meeting. I believe I was prepared for first three. But start working with Jossie. Hello, Jossie. Super happy to see you here. I understand that I can be open. I can be spontaneous. I can speak from my heart what I feel, what I'm afraid of. Sometimes she asked some surprising question for me. I stopped to overthinking. I start to listen myself, to check in what I'm looking for. It was like evening friendly meeting with some friend. Actually, we even have meetings in Friday in the evening. I drinking a tea and I talking how was my week was. It was amazing. I feel not only inspired, getting some new knowledge, but also rested. And it was really cool.
Your mentoring session was your Friday relaxation time. But I understand there was a little bit of pressure from Jossie also because you need to turn around some report work for her as well. You mentioned something about you were surprised about the approach that Jossie took, and you were not sure if that was going to work out. You mentioned this when we were having a conversation the other day. So I'm just really that was fascinating for me. So can you share a little bit?
Yes, as I mentioned, I have some prepared agenda, my amazing, beautiful Google document, and I come with it to Jossie with my goals, early goals and monthly goals, something like that. And Jossie asked me, Anya, what's about your victories? I'm absolutely sure you have some victories today. Would you please mention something? And it was so super usual day, absolutely boring meetings on the job, not victories, not something to, I don't know, really important. And I was a little even speechless. I was not ready for this kind of discussion. Jossie explained me a little that actually you have a lot of good work. You are nice and you did something nice today. And it's okay to name it as victories, your small own victories every day, and try to write down them. And it was really about me because I'm, like nice student. I start to write down it. And for next session, I was again super prepared, but I changed my mind a little because when you're looking at this list and did something about like be nice with somebody who you met in the elevator, something like that, I start thinking that maybe it's not only one big goal for whole year. You have a lot of opportunities to be good, have a victory every day. From my future, I start focusing on my present, I don't know. And after that, I believe I start some transformation maybe. And it was really interesting because again, I thinking about, I don't know, KPI, OKR, capacity, something like that. I start thinking absolutely different stuff. And it was super interesting, super surprising.
Thank you for sharing that. So Josie, hearing that, the benefit of listing down her small victories into what I see from the first time that I spoke to Anna to the time that I had the session with her a couple of days ago, the confidence is very obvious, right? So the growth of the confidence and also in the work that she was able to achieve for her career. What is your reaction hearing Anna?
Yeah, I mean, it's always heartwarming. This is something I do with like not just my mentees, I do this with my coaching clients too. And almost everybody I have this conversation with is like, you're telling me to celebrate my daily wins? Like, why, why does this matter? Right. And I think, especially for those of us who are high achievers, we're always looking at that future goal. But we do have little wins along the way. And it is important to celebrate the progress and just see like how far we have come. And it doesn't mean that everything has to be perfect, but we can gain so much confidence by just seeing those little things and recording them. And then actually it ends up being very useful on the work side too, because then when you go have your performance reviews, you've actually documented some of those things along the way too. It does help on the work side too, but it's just really nice to hear that these strategies, even though they seem simple, are really applicable. And I mean, for me, I truly believe, yes, the focus is obviously on leadership and what is going on at work, but it's also about we are holistic human beings. Like what's going on in our personal lives really impacts what goes on at work. And so it's important to be considering like all the sides of things to ensure that you're really thriving.
Thank you very much for sharing some tidbits of your experiences. Now I will go to Kaan. Could you share some backgrounder about that time and then why you came to the conclusion that mentoring would be good for you?
My background in engineering mostly stems in doing consulting in my own company. This trilogy is the first company that I'm actually working for someone other than myself. The restructuring that was taking place at the time I joined the mentoring club was really challenging for me. So that's why I thought I need to discuss this with someone that has much more experience than I do.
You mentioned also something about organizational changes that were going on, specific instances where somebody who might have gone through similar experience would be helpful to you. Could you mention why you think or why you chose David and Kevin to help you with that challenge?
When I first joined, we had an intro meeting with you, Lisa. So you gave me a list of potential mentors. I was in need of someone to talk to. David and Kevin were the first ones to get back to me. So we had a call with them and thought it was a good match. So we started our mentoring relationship. But apologies. The main reason was all of us are in the tech sector. So that's why I reached out to everyone on your list, basically.
If I can find just one thing that can help, that's my goal. If there's lots of other things, that's even better. But it's always to try and find that one thing. And what I kind of see in the tech sector, and it was, you know, what I felt with Kaan, it was very similar. Like there's go through these waves of restructuring. Organizations are changing. People are having to switch jobs, or they lose jobs, or they have to, you know, move roles and do all of these different things. And it can be a challenging kind of period in anybody's life. And I've gone through some of those myself, and you don't have all the answers necessarily, but if you can kind of bring somebody through, listen to what their circumstance is, what they're trying to achieve, and see if you can add any value to that, and help them think through the challenges that they're going through. I don't necessarily think it's always my place to solve the problem. I think that's the responsibility of the person themselves. But if I can coach or give some advice or encourage or suggestions or, you know, other scenarios, that's for me. And I think a big important part of that, and particularly in with Kaan, is that somebody is just open to the process, that they're open to be part of this, to hear some different things. And they might not necessarily agree with everything that they hear with, but at least they're open to participate in hearing about it. And they might go, that's perfect, that's something that I can work with, or no, I don't think that is useful. But at least it gives the person something that they can work on. In general, you find that the tech industry has a lot of different people, from lots of introverts and lots of people who have been in roles that maybe they haven't experienced a kind of a speed bump, if you like, in their career, and they may struggle with that. And And I find bringing kind of confidence in that you need to be confident in what you have been doing and how you tell your story to the world, and just kind of get that out there, and really don't just look like everybody else does. You can position yourself in a way that you can tell your story and your strengths and get those things out. I read thousands of CVs and stuff just as an example every year, and they're all the same. You sometimes look for those differences and look for when somebody's telling a unique story. It doesn't have to be that they put a man on the moon. It's just something that's different, that is about that person, that tells you a little bit more about what's going on and why this person would be a great addition to your team. And I think that can apply in both if you're going for a job scenario, or even internally within an organization, that you're trying to move a different role or communicate to a different team or work with a different manager or something. Every single person, I'm a big believer, I'm an optimist, that everybody has their own story, everybody has their strengths, but we don't always articulate that. And it's back to that thing about the Instagram highlight reel. Everyone is kind of like, oh my God, I have to look like everybody that's out there on LinkedIn, and they've got this fabulous career and they've got all this fabulous stuff and it's all great. It's not all great. That's just what they're putting out there. You have to have the confidence to get your story out. And it doesn't have to be the same story as everybody else, because then you're just like everybody else. So what's your difference? And what I really found with working with Kaan was he was open to that. And hopefully he listened to some of the stuff that I said. He might have discounted it, but at least it was in that process. And to me, it's about that. It's not that I have all the answers. I don't. God, if I did, I'd be a gazillionaire, but I don't. And it's just some experience, openness to the process, and willing to kind of engage and take on some suggestions and think about it. And think about, okay, I've heard a suggestion. No, I don't agree with it. I'm doing something else. But at least you've made that conscious decision. You're not just going along with the journey that everybody else is on. We had a shortish engagement, but I think we engaged and we had some kind of good thought-provoking conversations. And so I enjoyed that kind of element of it.
I'll go ahead and pose the same question or similar question to David. Both of you worked with Kaan and helped him out during those challenging times that he was having. What made you think, David, that you would be able to help him out? I also heard you say earlier that experience being a mentor is so rewarding that you keep coming back. So is Kaan one of the reasons why you keep coming back?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So Kaan and I were sort of philosophically aligned, or are philosophically aligned, about our approach to software development and how you go about doing it in sort of ideal situations. But he found himself in a non-ideal situation. And whenever you're in that situation or in that circumstance, it's kind of a fight or flight decision you have to make. It's like, actually, this is so bad, I have to go find something else. Or is it something that I can sort of change or adapt to, or adapt it to the way I'm thinking? And so our conversation at least started around that sort of theme, and sort of assessing the reality of the situation. And I think that as it progressed, one of the things that we kind of aligned to was there were actually some great opportunities afforded, even in an imperfect situation, that allowed Kaan to sort of do the things that he was passionate about and do things in a way that were sort of positive and have integrity about what he was doing. Obviously fraught with challenges, but those can create some opportunities, and certainly opportunities for growth and learning. So a lot of our conversation was just sort of trials and tribulations of getting through that and making the most of it. And I definitely saw him sort of come around to, I wouldn't say necessarily embracing it with love, but certainly having an appreciation maybe for the situation. He and I haven't talked for a little while, so I'm actually interested in what you have to say about how things have sort of shaped up. But that was kind of the nature of it, is if you're going to stay and really apply yourself and try to make the most of the situation, how can you do that to your best advantage?
Kaan's case is different, right? So the responsibility that he was given in his role is really something that was overwhelming for at that time. But with the help of both of you, Kevin and David, he was telling me the other day when we were catching up that it really, really helped. And any reactions to what you've heard from your mentors?
I just want to thank both David and Kevin when I get the chance. So because they really did help me a lot. During our conversations, we also focused on, based on my experience, what would be the unique value that I can deliver, either in my organization or somewhere else. As time passed, a considerable amount of luck as well, I was able to pivot myself in a way that I could actually deliver that value in the way we discussed. And I'm quite happy where I am now, I must say. So again, thank you, both Kevin and David.
Yes. Well, thank you to all of you for keeping that relationship going and seeing the benefit of brainstorming and sharing your own experiences with each other. For Kevin and David, there were probably opportunities in your conversations where you also learned something from the experience that Kaan was going through. Well, I won't let you go into those details, but I can see you nodding. One of the things that we would like to share in this session is that it's not all roses. Not everybody will have a successful mentoring relationship, or not everybody will feel that mentoring is the right path for them. What struck me in the conversation with Ricardo is he reminded me that it took him 2 tries to get the mentoring to work for him. And I just want to share that with you.
This time I came with a completely different attitude, right? I guess that the first time I was a little more relaxed, enjoying a little bit of my free time. But this time I had a long introspection about how to approach my job search. And I was out of job for a long time. And I can have a completely different attitude. And I'm glad I did. And not only that, but I also have a lot of more thinking that to do about exactly what I wanted to do. And one of the things that I was very clear is I was going to stay as an individual contributor in the technical track, but I want to have a bigger role. This was before I actually found the job. So those were my aspirations. And I thought, I'm going to need some guidance in here. And this is one of the things that I tried before, and it didn't pan out at the time, and I'm going to try it again. And that time was kind of perfect. I think I got David as my mentor a month and a half before I started my new job. So it kind of worked out very well.
So if you remember, he mentioned in his intro that he had a conversation with David right before he had an interview with the CEO of the current company that he's working at. And this is his pairing for choosing the mentor.
I think I talked to 2 other people in the platform, and you actually provided me a guidance based of our initial conversations. And I wanted to have somebody that has way of doing career development when you are a senior professional, but also have a very good grasp of all the technical parts of the role. In fact, David turned out to be that. He is one of those mentors that he can actually talk technically if we want to get to, and we did in a couple of occasions, and he understands some of the problems that I was facing. The other gentleman was in cybersecurity, and he was very good as well. It didn't work out, but at the time, but I'm glad I get to meet 2 other people. The candidates that I actually talked to, they were fantastic.
For people who are looking at specific career stages, right? So for somebody who is starting their careers, or somebody who's in mid-career or advanced stage, this is another snippet that Ricardo shared with me, I think is worth also listening to.
Depending on what level you are, if you're a very junior person, you have a lot more opportunities as to what you want to get out of this, because you have many more directions to follow, right? As you start getting more senior, your set of directions kind of narrows a bit, but you still want to have a good understanding of having a person that you can bounce ideas and have some conversations with.
So David, what was your deciding factor that, yeah, this is a person that I could help out?
As Ricardo mentioned, we had the technical background and being able to sort of speak to him at different levels, including sort of the lowest in the weeds level, was helpful. Also, sort of where he was at in his job search and thinking about the kind of role he wanted to play going forward, I thought was like a good time to be able to help him, or at least share my thoughts about how he might pursue that and present himself, and as he's going through that process. So the timing was kind of perfect with respect to where he was and the things, sort of his short-term and then longer-term goals. There's probably a good opportunity to be helpful and to give him some things to think about. And it sounds like that it worked out pretty well for him.
Some of the portions there were edited, right? But when he was saying David was instrumental in me getting this job, because I spoke to him right before I had an interview with the CEO, and then he thought to himself, I think I didn't mention that to him. But now you know. So that is an impact that you've had on his career and life. So I'd like to open up the floor now to anybody who would like to ask questions, or among the panelists and mentees. Anna, the question is for you, and it's about what would you suggest for somebody who's starting his career in UI UX design? Did I get that right, Daniel?
More so the challenges.
And also around mentoring.
Thank you, first of all, for your question, Daniel. Super happy to see you here, because actually Daniel is my mentee. Yes, he is not stranger for me. Yes, I'm have a mentoring practice on the ADP list, and I try to share my own experience. Any challenging cases for me, it's always about mindset, changing mind, because I'm pretty not good person in it. When I have some structure, I have some ideas, super difficult to me to change my mind, and actually always difficult to help people change their mind. Because again, being a mentor, sometimes I have cases when people come to me and I understand the problem not in their skills, their ability, the experience. Problem is in this some ideas that bad for them, and be pretty polite, be pretty understandable to explain people how to work with it. You can only in case if you able to do it for yourself. I try and do it again and again, and maybe it's most challenging, but also most inspiring journey for me. Maybe it's my personal journey. Maybe some mentors have something different to say.
Is there any difference or advantages or disadvantages between when the mentee and mentor are in the same group or organization or company, as opposed to being outside?
It's an interesting point. Even in our own companies, we're in a leadership role and we have people who report to us, there is an aspect of mentoring and coaching that happens in that relationship. But I think that there's something special about removing bias that might be influenced from the constructs of the organization, or being outside of that allows for a very sort of honest discussion about the situation, removing yourself from sort of the politics or anything else that might come into play if you're actually part of the organization that you share with the mentee. I appreciate the fact that I'm able to provide an outside perspective without any concern about a conflict of interest or anything like that affecting the advice that I would give. Over my career, I've been able to provide good guidance and mentorship with people who work for me even, right? But it's different, I think, than when I'm able to talk to folks who are completely removed from the organization that I work for.
Maybe just one sentence, parting words from all of you.
The one last thing I'll leave is, and I have this conversation a lot with people, but as a mentee, you might think like, well, I just don't have enough experience to be effective as a mentor. And I think you're always more ready than you think to help others in the capacity of being a mentor. Imposter syndrome runs deep and broad, but it's important to get over that and actually put yourself out there and act in the capacity of a mentor. I absolutely encourage it.
Listen, learn, don't be arrogant, be humble, and just be open. So thank you all.
Just to kind of add to what Kevin was saying, just having a willingness to learn and grow and realize that we're all on learning journeys. And so you can be both a mentor and a mentee.
I'd like to thank everyone here for sharing their thoughts. I'd like to, again, especially thank David and Kevin. And I'm looking to pay it forward if I get the chance by becoming a mentor as well.
I was mentor before I start working as mentee, and it was absolutely two different way. I believe I become much more better mentor after my experience with Jossie being a mentee, and I believe it's just start. I don't know, something like that. Thank you.
If I were to become a mentor, which I'm actually considering now through these relationships, one thing is when you made a commitment to be a mentor or even to be a mentee, stick to it. Just give it a try. Don't give up too easily. If you had a meeting upcoming and for some reason you're on schedule, try to reschedule that one, but have it rescheduled. Don't just lose that connection because you might be missing out on a good mentorship relationship. So try to be a little more proactive. It's part of the mentee has to be more proactive, but also the mentor needs to be more accommodating because sometimes there are things that happen in mentee's life and they have to reschedule things. So just be accommodating. If they reach out to you, please reply back. In my case, it worked. David, he was very accommodating, and that appreciates that because that actually gives me, okay, so this is a good thing. We both really want to make this work. Those will be things as a mentor, just be accommodating and just provide advice because the other person actually in a way kind of is looking up to you, for suggestions, ideas, and you just let him down or just shut him down or just don't reply back. And that's just kind of a little letdown for the mentee.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much to all of you. Quick announcements. We have had a successful run of our first collective mentoring workshop in 2023. We had participants from the Czech Republic and United Arab Emirates, Kenya, the Philippines, and the US. And we are running our second cohort of collective mentoring workshops. So this is online, 10 sessions. Every 2 weeks we meet and we focus on 4 areas that our mentees have communicated that they need help on. So communications, leadership, networking, and relationship building, and career planning and development skills. So if you know anyone within your connections who could benefit from a group mentoring session, please refer them to this opportunity. The next in-person session, so wherever we have critical mass of people in community, mentors, mentees, volunteer supporters, and sponsors also, we would like to get together and we do the mentors and leaders hike the dish at Stanford. The next one is going to be on January 13th. It's a little chilly, but it's nice. When you're talking to people while you're walking, you don't really realize how much you've walked and how much you've invested in your health. When we were talking about earlier, there was a question about internal or corporate mentoring programs. So one of the ways that the Mentoring Club has put together a strategy for reaching out more mentees is by engaging with companies who believe that investing in their people, developing the right culture for their organization through mentoring programs. We have created the LEAD mentoring program. As you can see there, we're recognizing the need to leverage talent to empower people, accelerate careers, and deliver success for everybody involved in the program. And the initial stages are about needs analysis, program implementation, and then we go through the assessment and results retrospective so that we can recommend improvements in the next cohorts that the companies will run. So if you're interested, you can connect with any one of our core team members. We have Dr. Leslie Peterson, who is our lead mentoring program. He has over 30 years of experience in managing mentoring programs in organizations, in governments, and universities. And she's a PhD in mentoring. She's based out of New Zealand. And then we have Jorim, who's based out of Spain, who has a master's degree in psychology, and he's a millennial. So you're looking at a diverse group of people who are here dedicated to help organizations figure out what's the best way to run their mentoring programs. And we have Caroline, originally from Kenya, but based here in California. And of course, you have Hong and myself, who are both in this session with you. Both of us have backgrounds in IT, systems development, and now both giving back through mentoring. And then, of course, we'd like to encourage you to become a mentee when you think that you need help, or if you're not sure, just go ahead and reach out, and we will figure it out together if you're ready to become a mentee. Likewise, becoming a mentor, we cannot help the mentees without the mentors. So please, if you're ready, if you have some spare time, help others figure out their career and life journeys. And as a nonprofit organization, we're continuing to look for volunteers in these areas. We have so many programs that we want to run, and we're just limited by the resources we have in terms of people, because we have the strategies in place, the program structures, and it's a matter of people really helping out to execute on those strategies and programs. And in the spirit of the season, we are doing our fundraiser this second half of the year. And now that we're in December, we're into the holiday season and also the new year. We would like to encourage people to donate to the mentoring club. And if you are in the mood for, and if you really appreciate the mission of mentoring future leaders, I would even encourage you to go ahead and become a sustaining donor for the mentoring club. So thank you very much for all of those of you who have already provided us financial support and even connections to people who can give us sponsorship and donations. So feedback is a gift. You will receive an email from Eventbrite that will request you to give us feedback about this session. And if there's any additional topics that you would like to hear from us from our Mentoring Matters Talk series, please feel free to send us your ideas and we'd be happy to program them into our events next year. And with that, I would like to encourage all of you to have a happy holidays and always enjoy the journey.